Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'll be explaining you about classification of buildings in civil engineering based on various factors. Okay, quickly we'll get into the concept. So first of all, what is a building? So everybody of us know. So building is a structure which is composed of walls and slab, or what you call a ceiling, where people can live or people can work, like that. Okay, and of course the buildings vary in size, the shape, depending upon the function for which it is used, and also uh, buildings depend upon the kind of the building material we are using to construct it, and specific purpose of constructing that building, and all the aesthetic details related to that building. We have different classification of buildings and different variation in the sizes and shapes. So first, classification of buildings is based on the purpose. So based on the purpose or based on the occupancy, how the buildings are classified is what we will look into now. So coming to the first one, the first subcategory in the classification based on purpose will be residential buildings. So what are residential buildings? These are the buildings which are used for normal residential purposes. So where people reside in it. And this buildings or this kind of building should facilitate activities such as sleeping, living and cooking. So we have a bedroom, we have a kitchen where we cook, and we have a living room, like that. And this building also should include one or more family residencies like apartments, flats, private garages, whatever, wherever people can live, can reside, you call it as a residential building. And residential buildings are further classified into five subcategories, right from A1 to A5. So A1 is all about lodges or rooming houses, like we take private lodges, right, to stay for 1 day or 2 days, like that, a temporary one. So that's about A1, it comes under A1. A2 is one or two family private occupancies. So you have private houses where one or two families can reside. And A3 is like a big hall. Okay, just it's an open hall or a one single hall where many people reside. And next, A4 is apartments or flats where community of people live together. And A5s are hotels. Next comes second classification on based on the purpose is about educational building. So what is an educational building? Obviously these are the buildings which house or which are basically schools or colleges which are affiliated and recognized by an appropriate board, university or any similar affiliation authority. So whatever colleges or schools we study, they are affiliated to some board, so it comes under a educational building. And this building should promote the aggregation of instructional, educational and recreational activities pertaining to educational purposes. So in, for example, this means that if you take a school, so in school we study and also we play games, and also we have some extracurricular activity places, like we have a place to dance, like a dancing hall or like auditorium, like that. It's meant for recreation. Further, it's mandatory for such kind of buildings to have proper residential facilities for essential staff who need to reside within the campus, like for watchmen or people who wish to stay. Also, it should be able to provide a residence. Apart from this, the institution should also have a hostel exclusive to the institute, either within the premises or outside. Even we have to provide hostel facilities for the boarders. Next is the third category, which is the institutional building. So what is an institutional building? These types of building are those which are constructed by the government. So these particular buildings are especially constructed by the government, or even it could be a aided one, means a semi-government organization, or any registered trust, and they are built for specific purpose. So, what are those specific purposes? The specific purposes include medical treatment purposes such as treatment of physical or mental illness, children hospitals, old age homes, centers for the care of orphans or abandoned women, auditoriums or complexes which are meant to be used for cultural or allied activities, even religious accommodation facilities such as dharmashalas, you even jails, any correctional facilities, detention centers, juvenile reformatories, everything, any government constructed building comes under institutional building rather. Okay, and further the institutional buildings are classified into three types. We have C1, C2, C3. C1 is especially the hospitals, C2 is all the custodial institutes, C3 is penal and mental institutes. Next comes assembly buildings. So what is an assembly building? So the word itself it's telling assembly. So where people assemble, where all the group of people come together. So generally where does this happen? Where do the group of people assemble together? If it is an entertainment place, like if it is a cinema hall or if it is any shopping mall, there people come. Recreation centers like parks or even place where they get entertainment, and social places, religious places, any patriotic places, travel places. Here all you can see the congregation of people together. So assembly buildings are defined as those buildings or parts of at least those buildings which houses public gatherings congregated with the intent of either it could be amusement, the public congregation or gathering could be for the purpose of amusement or recreation or social or religious or patriotic, civil, travel or any other similar purpose. So what come under these categories? So buildings such as movie houses, the movie theaters, drama theaters, drive-in theaters, assembly halls, clubhouses, town halls, auditoriums, exhibition hall, museum, Mangal Karyalayas, gymnasiums, sports complex, restaurants, boarding houses, dance clubs, places of worship, bus stops, taxi stands, railway stations, airports, etc. all come under assembly buildings. And your assembly buildings are further classified into D1 to D5. So where D1 is under D1, the buildings are those which have a theatrical stage, in the sense like it's like a small theater, mini theater. So where the number of people are fixed only up to 1,000, like our cinema theater. Next D2 building will have a theoretical stage and fixed seats for less than 1,000 people. And D3 is buildings without a single phase, without lodging for 300 or more persons, but no permanent seating. In the sense, it's like a open hall or like a clubhouse where people can come, they do their work and they leave away. Whether whatever it may be, the congregation or whatever the gathering it could be, the purpose will be finished and it will go. Like some prayer halls like that. But it's not for you don't have any permanent seating arrangement there. Only mobile chairs you can use or you can sit on the floor. Next is D4. This building provides lodging for less than 300 people. Okay, and whatever are not categorized from D1 to D4 and whatever type of assembly buildings we located or I told here, those all will come under D5, which are not belonging to D1 to D4, but whatever we have talked like exhibition halls like that, those all come under D5. Next comes a business building. So what is a business building? See, the name itself is telling business. All commercial activities takes place in such kind of buildings, or so it is a kind of a building or a part of a building which is used for keeping records of business transactions, maintaining accounts, bookkeeping purposes, or managing other types of records. So what kind of buildings come under this category? It includes offices, banks, courthouses and other professional establishments. So wherever there is a purpose to serve or to save the records, to store the records, there comes a business building. So all the building where all commercial activities takes place is rather called as a business building, sometimes also called as a commercial building. So what business types of buildings are again classified into three categories: E1, E2, E3. So in E1, all offices, banks will come. In E2, laboratories, research establishments will come, testing houses. In E3, all computer related activities, computer installed places will come. Next comes mercantile building. What is mercantile building? So mercantile building is another type of classification where the entire building or a part of the building is used for housing shops, stores or showrooms where display and sale of wholesale products, retail products or merchandise is carried out. So now we go to a cloth shop. We go to a cloth shop and we buy some clothes. we go to a retail shop to buy household activities, we get something like our supermarkets. So you just go, you buy the things and you come out. That's a merchandise. That phenomenon is called as a merchandise. So where this merchandise is happening means where the selling of the goods is taking place is called as a mercantile building. Like our examples: shops, small shops, big shops, shopping malls, cloth shopping malls, and supermarkets. All these things you can keep in your mind. They comes under mercantile building. So these buildings are further classified into F1 and F2. F1 is for shops, stores, markets who are having area up to 500 square meters rather, and F2 is that category of mercantile building where you have underground shopping centers, and even the area is more than 500 square meters. Next comes next classification is industrial buildings. So industrial buildings means something related to industry. So where different kinds of products are manufactured, or products are fabricated, they are assembled or processed. That's called as an industrial building. So buildings used to manufacture, assemble, or process products or materials are called industrial buildings. So if you're using any product, if you're using a phone, you're using a laptop, so it's manufactured somewhere. So the place where it's get manufactured is called as an industrial building. Not only manufactured, assembled also is fine. And what all comes under industrial buildings? They include manufacturing units, assembly plants, factories, mills, power plants, oil refineries, gas plant, dairy plants, laboratories. And industrial buildings are further classified into three groups: G1, G2, G3. G1 is for less hazardous industries, G2 medium risk industries, and G3 high risk industries. Next comes storage buildings. So again, the word itself is telling this kind of building is used only for a storage purpose, storage of commodities, storage of goods. So if a building or a part of a building is used for storage of goods or commodities or merchandise, then you call it as a storage building. What all come under this? You have warehouses, cold storage, grain storage, barns, stables, transit sheds, hangars, truck terminals, public garage, whatever, they come under storage building. Now all once at the night time, once the public transport is closed, where all these buses and trains go and stop, so it's a storage building. Next comes hazardous buildings. So what are hazardous? Hazardous buildings are also called dangerous buildings, so which are harmful. Okay, so these types of buildings are further classified, or hazardous buildings are actually classified into two subcategories. This is the first category. Okay, so buildings used for the manufacture or processing or handling or storage of substances which are radioactive in nature and which are highly combustible, explosive nature, or capable of burning rapidly to produce fire or poisonous fumes is one category. Second category in hazardous buildings is those buildings which are used for the manufacturing and processing and handling and storing of substances which are highly corrosive in nature. So one is highly combustible in nature, next is highly toxic, corrosive in nature. So both are hazardous in nature, hence both classification comes under hazardous building. So hope you understand what are combustible and what are corrosive. Any chemicals you store, they are toxic and corrosive in nature. At the same time, if you see explosive nature or combustible nature, the petrol, crude oil manufacturing units, petrol manufacturing units, like that. We'll go to the next classification quickly. So whatever we have seen till now is all based on the purpose or on the occupancy. Now comes classification of buildings based on the design and height. The first one is a detached building. So what is a detached building? A building which is comprising of roof and wall, which is detached from any other building and has open spaces within its boundaries is called a detached building. Means if it is a single house, for that particular compound of the house, if it is a single house, then you call it as a detached building. It is not having connection with the other house, not like an apartment, it's like an independent house. Okay, next comes semi-detached. What is the meaning of semi-detached? Semi-detached means it is the building which is detached from other buildings, means which is separate from the other buildings on 3 sides and have open spaces on all the sides. What do you mean by open space? Open space means integral parts of the site which are left open to the sky. So if you assume this house which is located at the corner or at the, imagine it's the beginning or either end of this colony. So you can see only one side there is a building with respect to it. Besides it, the back side, left side and front side, everything is open. 3 sides it's open, so you can call it as a semi-detached. So detached means on all the 4 sides you have empty space, that house is completely detached. If it is on 3 sides the space is left over, you call semi-detached. Next comes multi-story or high-rise structure. So obviously you know the name itself it's telling high-rise. So all buildings which are having more than 4 stories, 4 floors, 4 stories, you call it as a high-rise structure, and the height will be generally more than 15 meters without a stilt. And if you are considering the stilt, obviously the height would be around 17.5 meters. This is measured with respect to the the road level. The next classification is based on standards and safety. Means how, what is the maintenance level of that particular building. The first classification is slum building. What is the meaning of slum building? So these buildings or buildings under this category have very low level of maintenance and they have very bad habitat conditions. Means, you know, people live in very adverse condition. There is no proper sanitation, there is no proper ventilation, and it is not at all durable structure. But since there is no other go, they live in that. That is called as a slum building. Next is unsafe building. What is unsafe building or an unsafe structure? In this kind of building, the building or this kind of building is rather weak. Structurally it is weak and hence it is unsafe. It is also contaminated. It is also unsanitary. It will not have proper entry and exit facility also. It is very easily prone to fire attacks. It will possess or it will give danger to the people who are living inside it. So as per government regulations, these buildings must undergo restoration, or at least they must be demolished, or any necessary measure should be taken. Such kind of buildings are called unsafe building. Next is the classification of buildings based on the type of the construction. So under the type of construction we have 5 types. Type 1 is called non-combustible protected building. So what happens is in this type of construction, the structural elements consist of non-combustible materials. The structural elements like the beams and columns, they are made up of non-combustible materials, mostly steel and concrete. So these materials will try to resist the fire attacks, or resist the extension of fire. They are very much they act as a fire protecting agents. So they are called such kind of building constructed with these materials is called non-combustible protected building, which comes under type 1. Okay. The mostly you can see in the diagram also, you have concrete, you have the first one, which is the member is covered with concrete. Second is gypsum board, which is resisting fire, and even sometimes you can apply some coats to make the element fire resistive. So all comes under non-combustible. Next comes type 2, which is non-combustible unprotected. What is non-combustible unprotected? In the sense, the same requirements which apply to the first type will also apply to this type, but with only one difference. That is, this type of construction may not afford any fire resistance. If any fire protection of the structural element is provided, it is at a lesser rating when compared to the type 1. In the sense, generally this kind of building has structural elements which are made up of steel, bolted, riveted or welded connections, and this type of construction is very much vulnerable to expansions, distortions, relaxation of the steel members, early collapse during fire, etc. So it's a combination of non-combustible materials. At the same time, we cannot assure protection. Once the fire attacks takes place, it may damage easily. Next comes type 3, which is combustible and non-combustible both. So in this type 3 buildings, or in this construction type, all or a part of the interior structural elements may be combustible. Means the members interiorly, I mean in the sense inside partition walls or inside structural members of a building will be combustible, but whereas the external walls are constructed with non-combustible materials. Means, for example, the external wall could be constructed with the help of a brick or a stone, whereas the interior members will be constructed with the help of wood. So wood is combustible, stone is non-combustible. So combination. Next is type 4. Type 4 is exclusively heavy timber type structure. Means, what is this? Heavy timber structural members, in the sense columns, beams, arches, floors, roofs, are unprotected wood. They are completely made up of wood with very large cross-sectional area. A minimum dimension of 8 inches for structural wood is required. So whatever beams, columns, arches we are constructing, all are with wood of minimum 8 inches dimension. And obviously these buildings consist of non-combustible exterior walls, same, but the interior members will be made up of timber, heavy timber. Last is type 5, which is again combustible. So now this is exclusively interior and exterior, all the members are made up of a combustible material, mostly wood. If you consider a wooden framed structure or a wooden structure, all the elements, walls, etc., all are made with wood. The frame is made up of timber, and the walls and the roof is completely made with a plywood sheet or a veneer sheet. Everything is combustible, everything can catch fire easily. That's called as a combustible type 5 building. Next comes classification of building based on some miscellaneous features. So miscellaneous features, under this we have two types. We have special buildings and multi-level car parking. First, coming to the special kind of buildings, so this is all encompassing category which includes like assembly buildings, industrial, wholesale establishments, hazardous buildings, hotels, hostels, and buildings with central air conditioning. Means all the special kind of buildings which are more than 15 meters in height. This is what we need to remember. And also they have a built up area of over or more than 600 square meters. This is what we need to remember about the special buildings. Next is multi-level car parking. So these are the buildings which are either partially below ground level and have 2 or more basements, or above ground level with 2 or more floors, that are especially or principally used for parking cars, bikes or scooters or any other light motor vehicles. If you have been to any big shopping mall, there you can see we have cellar parking. You have -1, -2, -3. So the car parking or the light motor vehicle parking could be exclusively under the ground or even above the ground for 1 or 2 floors. Such building is called as a multi-level car parking building. Okay, so this is all about the classification of buildings. I hope you all understood the video. To get the notes of this video, just click on the description of this video. You'll have a link. Click on the link and download the notes. Thanks for watching.